at night, yeah. Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. What keeps you up at night, yeah. Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling their bluff. You got me like, oh yeah. I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling their bluff. Hey, it's too late to try to go contain it. A generation fueled by creation. We live lives on a small screen nation. We control the airwaves, no negotiation. I refuse to think we need saving. Something good will come from creation. And when we think that the world is too anxious, we'll adapt, evolve, survive, and save it. What keeps you up at night, yeah. Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. What keeps you up at night, yeah. Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling their bluff. You got me like, oh yeah. I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling their bluff. Hey, oh yeah. I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling their bluff. You got me like, oh yeah. I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling their bluff.
Birds flying high, you know how I feel. Sun in the sky, you know how I feel. Breeze drifting on by, you know how I feel. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life for me.
Turn on your mind now, tune into the feed. We're planting digital flowers from a single tiny seed. Yeah, power to the collective in the data and the soul. The hive mind's getting louder, finding voice and control.
Good morning, Hive. I hope everybody slept great. Make sure my audio's coming in. I got up early to. Oh, yeah. I got up early and I completely redid my mic, so it's back to how it was doing it. Last time you're going to hear me say that. And so for me, that's a huge stress relief. But nonetheless, I'm excited that we moved this sting from doing it daily to just on Fridays, because today's headline will shock you if you've not heard about this. And it has to do with cars and how, if they're not already expensive enough, Toyota just absolutely cooked the entire market if this continues to go down the path that it is. And so we're going to be diving into that today. We're going to also then talk about how this is going to lead into just the general 40,000 foot view of this corporatocracy. Corporatocracy. It's a little early to say that big of a word. That we just seem to be running into full speed with a blindfold on, laughing and cackling the entire way, not understanding we were running into our own demise. This world is going to be too expensive to be able to afford to live. And if it's already not there, we're going to be going there at light speed if this, what I'm about to talk about today, continues. That's a big word for Elmo. Absolutely. Wait, what does that mean? Are you calling me Elmo? Or are you watching Elmo? Or is that like a nickname? Good morning, Heatherly. Love it. Love it, Karen. Good to see you. But Dino. Yeah, let's hear it. What do you think is going to be the breaking story? Cletus McFettis. It's an awesome username. It's hilarious. Gamble. Harper. Happy birthday to Growth Renewal. Morning, Luna. And happy birthday, Growth Renewal. UFO Dog. UK Karen's in the house. Sleuthy Kitty. Michaela. Good morning, Dina. Miss Maggie. Cletus McFettis says, I'm pretty sure I discovered an obviously staged body cam when the 911 call happened. Okay. Nice. Are you in our Discord? We're going to be doing a live dig this evening for the Hive. That'll be at 9 p.m. Central. I kind of did a little bit of a poll at the end of last night's stream, and it seems like the live digs are the move. I have no problem continuing to do live digs into the Idaho 4. There is, no shortage of weird stuff that has happened. So if that's what you're into, 9 p.m. Central this evening. This is the same channel that I use when I go live. Morning, Trisha. Yeah, it's a good changeup, isn't it, Karen? Yeah, Cletus, make sure that you tune in then this evening if you're able to. That's interesting. I'm screenshotting this right now. That comment, so I don't forget. Let me just put that into a document. Anybody got any fun plans this weekend? It's raining out here in the Midwest. What up, Hot Lips Shan? Willow, good to see you. Crown's going to another fall festival. Joni says, I'm taking my son to Scarrow Winds. What's that? Pee-wee football in Halloween Town. Not an NPC. How are you doing? Miss Maggie says self-employed, so working. Everybody thinks it's fun to be self-employed or a business owner until you realize it's 99.9% way more work than you would do in corporate. And it's always a blast when you're trying to, start your own company. And you also have to have your corporate job because your own company has yet to make you any money. Oh, nice. Luna's son is coming home from college this weekend for fall break. I'm excited. Make sure he tunes into the Hive tonight. He's probably like, no, I'm going out with my buddies. Kathy, thank you for asking. Mrs. Birdie's feeling great. She's doing good. Knock on wood, no morning sickness yet, but I know she's kind of going into like the prime time window for it. I actually think she might still be laying down this morning. You're hanging out with your dogs and cats being cuddly. Yep. I know. Sleuthy Kitty says, I have my own business and work corporate just because of that. Oh, I know that pain. I agree, Harper. It sucks, but it'll like suck until it doesn't. And one of the things, okay, so I went, we went on a vacation down to like Fort Myers. And then anyways, so we went down to Fort Myers and we met some of our buddies there. And we were like, isn't it weird how it doesn't matter like what kind of coastal town or city you're going to go to? All over the world, there's these giant oceanfront or even like lakefront properties. You got McLarens and Lambos and Ferraris and these just everybody seems to be in every area. There just seems to be people loaded. And it's like, what do you people do? You know what I mean? It's like, what do all of these people do? And I think a lot of them had owned a business at some point and sold it. I don't know if it's all generational wealth or trust funds, but I could, or maybe it's just like, it's hard to wrap your head around it in today's housing market that it's even doable. Because I think a lot of the things that you'll hear kind of the probably like 50, 55 and older generation talk about, like I use the Mr. Wonderful example. Like Mr. Wonderful on Shark Tank, if you ever watch that, he would say things like, you know, don't go and buy coffee from Starbucks. You know, buy your coffee at home and like invest the rest of it. Well, it's like, okay, I see that, but the investment and the amount of money that we would need and how long it would take for what it would be worth doesn't seem worth it to anybody. It's kind of like the same thing now. It's like, depending on the rate you can get for a house or what area you want to live in or what, you know, what kind of apartment you're in before you switch to a house. It's like, man, you know, you're paying half on rent for a place that has brand new appliances. It's nice. You don't got to fix anything. And then with a house, it's like you're buying a house from like 1920 that the last time it sold was 109 grand. And now it's listed on the market for 470. Like, do you really want to get caught with that house if the market crashes? So that applies to like almost everything. And I think the traditional ways of getting wealthy that we all grew up hearing, like flipping properties and just like your classic wealth, like your classic wealth path, I think is going to look different if it's not already looking different, because that classic wealth path almost requires wealth to build wealth now. Right. And, yeah, I'm not saying UFO dog, that house is from the 1930s can't be awesome. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying from a standpoint of like, you know, if you're just trying to have a house because of some, you know, mental timeline that you've said like, oh, I'm this age, I need to have a house. Well, it's like, well, okay, what happens then if the market does crash? Now you're stuck with 170 grand of extra mortgage and it's not positive equity going into your next endeavor with whatever place you want to live. So yeah, it just seems almost exactly that, Miss Maggie. Building materials are too high to profit. Joni says 10 years ago, we bought our house for 15 grand, 5 bedrooms on 2 acres. I'm so glad we made that move then because now it's a mess. Yeah, it sounds like you guys just won the lottery. Jeez. That's the steal of a lifetime. Good for you guys. Yeah, you don't want to be like, house poor is not it right now. Discord Dawn's in here. What's up, Discord Dawn? Good to see you. See 1111's here. Stoogie. What's the, just out of curiosity, then we can get going because we've got a good amount of people in here now. So, what's the weirdest ways, like what's the weirdest way you know somebody who got super wealthy? I know I went to high school with this girl who was a year younger than me. And overnight, it seemed like her father quit his job. They moved to this golf course. She was driving a Cadillac. They moved into this beautiful home. And it's not, trust me, I'm not like pocket watching. There's a story to this. I want everybody to be successful. I want everybody to crush. And so when I say this, I'm just saying like the weirdest ways to get wealth. So this lady's mom, I just don't want to say anything that I shouldn't. So this lady's mom worked for a pretty big corporation. I don't know if everybody would know it, but it's like a department store. Okay, so I'll say that. It's a department store. It's a very popular department store. She worked in their corporate center, and she would like manage their books. And so she had gotten promoted to be like the top of whatever that department is, which is already still like, they're probably not hurting income wise if you're that high up, but she realized that they were cooking their books. And I remember hearing this story from her father because we'd all go over and hang out at their house, and he was telling how this happened and that they're going to be moving to Florida, a really, really nice area of Florida, like one of the top 2 or 3 cities that you could probably think of. And what had apparently happened is the mom figured out that they were cooking their books, and what she did is she used it as leverage. She went to them and said, I will expose this if you don't pay me out X amount of money. And I just thought to myself, like, Jesus H, that's such a good lesson to learn early. Just start holding it over the giant corporation's head. I think they got paid out. I think they settled whatever they did, but double digit millions of dollars for it to not come out, which is wild. So that's probably the weirdest way that I've ever heard. Vending machine, pizza parlors, and owning cell phone towers is extremely random. Yes. I mean, these aren't that weird though. Good morning, Tracy from Bama, War Eagle. I'm a little bit jealous that you're saying it's a perfect day for golf down there in Northwest Bama. Good to see you, Brooke. Crowd, no kidding, right? Crown says, I'm surprised she's still alive. You know what I mean? Like, it is, I had to take down that video of Kelly Patterson and re-upload it. So I did the quick cut. I fixed the audio. Well, I had to re-upload it because there was some like violation that was about to get human reviewed. Like that, so the algorithm, like, and I don't know if it's because I said, the T word, like traffic with an ing on the end. Apparently that's like a giant trigger word on YouTube, but nonetheless, let's get into today's topic. Okay. And this is extremely interesting. And I think this is where we all have to fiercely reject this as a society. If you've been in the Hive at night, I've talked about how like it's ridiculous at Disneyland, the prices they can get away with, because everybody feels like, well, we got to give our kids this experience. And that's just an example because I know there's going to be people that are like, I've never taken my kids to Disneyland. I don't want them around those weirdos. So I know all that rabbit hole. I know that rabbit hole. I'm just using this as an example of like, it seems like a water bottle is $20. Like if people just stopped buying the water bottles, or if people stopped going there, they would have to lower it, but people don't. What I'm about to talk about today is that times a million. And it has to do with your cars. So right now, when you go and you buy a car and you drive it off the lot and it has all these upgraded features that you paid money for, right? If there's different levels of a car. You have your premium package. It's kind of like the good, better, best. Okay. Do you want like plush seats? Do you want leather seats? Do you want them heated? Do you want them cool? Do you want the sensors on your mirrors? Do you want the digital dash? Things like that, right? You guys get my point. Well, if you pay for the extra, like the upgrades, right, when you leave, you should have those upgrades. Well, Toyota said, screw you guys. Toyota said, nah, we're going to put every feature in the car and we're going to make it a monthly subscription. So you know how right now when you buy a car and you have your Apple CarPlay and you get to just plug into it and it's a setting on the dash? Toyota says it's going to be a monthly fee, just like your Netflix, just like whatever other subscription-based models. And that's in their new 2025, 2026 models. So what's going to happen? Are they going to make like blind spot sensors, $8 a month? And there's probably some legal, I agree to all these terms and conditions that says, yeah, we don't care if you don't see the car next to you. They went years without these blind spot detectors. Good luck. Make sure you give a physical head look. We need our $8. Are they gonna, everything is digital now. So what's going to happen when it's going to be like, hey, if you want your digital gas tank monitor, that's going to be $2 a month. Oh, you want to use your navigation? Because right now they have things that you can pay for that are add-ons, right? Like you could have like a Wi-Fi, a hotspot added in there, which from a car manufacturer standpoint with things like that, I could see little additional features, right? Like I know I have a buddy who does construction. He's like, dude, he's like, I love having this Wi-Fi in my truck. Like he pays for the subscription so that he can work way out in, you know, nowhere, the middle of nowhere and still be connected to all of his tools. Like that makes sense to me. But little things like your navigation or the Apple CarPlay, the blind spot sensors, it's just ridiculous that this is what's going to happen. And you'll see why I'm saying we need to fiercely reject this. So last night I took this screenshot at, you guys can't see it at the bottom, no. 11 p.m. when I was prepping for the show this morning. Okay, I'm going to read this to you. Toyota slaps monthly fees on 2025 models' basic features. Toyota's connected services for 2025 models like Camry and RAV4 require subscription after trials for remote start at $8 monthly, navigation at $15, and music streaming at $15, totaling up to $38 a month. There's a viral X post from Wall Street Apes garnering nearly 30,000 likes that are exposing these costs on a $40,000 vehicle, sparking widespread consumer backlash and boycott calls. While Toyota views them as optional, the trend mirrors practices at BMW, GM, and Tesla amid rising software demands. Okay, so again, Toyota said, we're missing this giant piece of the market. There's other companies that do that, these luxury vehicles. You know, the everyday person, Toyota is a very popular car. They're a very reliable car. If you have a Toyota 4Runner from like the late 90s, you're probably still able to drive that thing. Those things are indestructible. They're indestructible. They make great engines. Honda too, right? And then they got smart. A lot of these car companies got smart. They're like, why would we want to make an engine that runs forever? Shit, we need this car to just take a shit on whoever purchased this when it hits about 120,000 miles, 140,000 miles. And it's even less if you drive a luxury car. Okay, I mean, yes, BMW is luxury, but when I got out of college, you know, I was just a bachelor running around with a job, and I thought I was, you know, for the first time in my life, I'm making money. I got a BMW M4 that I drove for a few years, and my uncle's a car guy. My grandpa has a garage, so from a maintenance standpoint, that was one of the reasons I was able to do it, because we could just do it for free there. Pretty much I would just pay for the parts and I'd go help my grandpa, you know, do whatever maintenance we needed. Super fun. A lot of like great memories with him doing that. And I actually have a really fun story, but I want to finish this point. My uncle had told me, he's like, you cannot let this thing get over like 85,000 miles on it, or it'll be like, nobody will want it. And there's certain models that I understand, they're like performance models. People don't want to buy a high mileage car. But I remember being so confused when I heard that, because in college I drove just like an old beat up Mazda. So I got this car. I'm like, hey, hang on, wait. So hang on. Why can't I only, I'm so excited. Like I wanted this car for a long, long time. And, you know, I only ended up I think I had it for 3.5 years. I got lucky. I probably kept it an extra 1.5 years because of COVID and I wasn't driving anywhere. But, real funny. So my grandpa, RIP, he died a few months ago. Just a great man, salt of the earth dude. And he had a garage. Him and his best friend, Al, they did all of the maintenance for the VA buses. That was like their retirement gig. So they bought a garage. They had a couple jacks where they could lift up, or they had a couple like whatever you call it, where you could pull on. They raised the cars, right? Platforms or lifts. And he would always do things like, he's like, I'd show up early in the morning before they had to start. And he's like, you know, we start with brake here. You know, it's just so funny because they're super hardworking dudes, but they're like, they just leaned into the retirement thing. And so I remember I got this car, and my grandpa grew up back before obviously there was any computers or all this high tech stuff. And if you know cars, like an M4 is a pretty quick car. And I had to get my brake pads changed. I might have been a little bit arrogant, and maybe out of love, put a little bit too much faith into my grandpa that I'm like, I know, and we called him Bappa. I'm like, I know Bappa could handle this. He's got it. So we get my car up on the jack. We ordered the brake pads. We got it all off, and he's looking at this thing. And I know him well enough, and I've worked with him well enough that like anytime he like hesitates, I'm thinking to myself, like, I know he doesn't know, but he's not going to tell me that he doesn't know. So in the car that I was driving, it had like this sensor, almost like a USB plug-in chip that would go into like the brake areas. Like you had to plug it in. I think it was some sort of sensor that would then pop up on your dash for whatever reason. I'm not a super knowledgeable car guy, like from the ins and outs of them and the mechanics or like the mechanical side of it. But I do know that if there's a part that you take out of the old one, the old brake, whatever it is, the old brake caliper, and when you go to put the new one on and it doesn't have that, you should probably keep the original one with the car. So my grandpa has no idea what this thing is. And I shit you not, I watch him look at this, kind of like look back over the wheel, and he throws it over his shoulder and he goes, "Those goddamn Germans." I'm like, "Wait, Baba, where did that go?" And I'm like looking around for this thing. And yeah, good thing I went and I found it because we absolutely needed it. But anyways, so it's just like cars have gotten so much more complicated, even mechanically. They've gotten more expensive. Everything's like, it's just like giant computer on wheels now is how I would describe it. And so for this right here, and I'll play the video that went viral, but here are some of their prices. So if you're a music lover, it's $15 a month. The Drive Connect, $15 a month. The premium is $25 per month. But really, this is just a screenshot from their website this morning. But really, this is the video that went viral.
Yo, we're in a Toyota 2025, and we noticed that on the screen, you can't use navigation unless you pay a subscription fee for it, right? Which is insane. Like, you can't just hook your phone up and use navigation on your phone. That's free. So we looked at the subscription fees, and it's $15 a month. It's also $15 a month to stream music to the actual screen in your car. Okay, together it's $25 a month. Then I also saw somebody on a forum say it's $8 a month to be able to see your oil level and your tire pressure. Bruh, look at this.
Hey, man.
What kind of hell?
To use the car.
Basically
use the car. And the key fob.
The car's like 40 grand. Oh yeah, remote start. You have to literally pay a subscription fee to get remote start. The vehicle is capable of all these things. What the fuck
you
reality
have to
are you living
pay
in?
to use them. Toyota.
So this is just, it's such a way bigger theme than people realize. And what Dawn just said too, like Dawn's like, yeah, people will pay it too. You know what I mean? Like, that's the point. There has to be some sort of collective, there has to be like a collective line in the sand as society. Because if we don't stop this, it's going to be everything. If it's not already. Guys, what is something that's free right now that they'll probably end up charging for? Like, I know over in Europe, and I don't know if I see UK Karen's in here still. UK Karen, don't you guys have to pay to use like your public restrooms? Or is that a thing of the past? I could have swore over like in Europe or someplace for the public restrooms you had to pay to use them. Sleuth Kitty says oxygen. UFO Dog says the gas cap. My wife says, I'm in the house. I didn't even realize you were doing this live. I thought it was pre-recorded. Good morning, everyone. Morning, Mrs. Birdie. Yeah, we have to stop buying this shit. Well, you know what, Harper? That's a great point. I'd be curious if there's like some sort of class action that you could say, like maybe because Harper says, you know how dangerous people will be holding their phones to try to do navigation. Absolutely. Brandon, you shall not pass. Yeah, Tracy from Bama says we lease cars forever because they were always under warranty and always, got it identical in white. Your husband bought you a gray one last time you couldn't find it in the parking lot. That's funny. That's funny. But yeah, I'm curious how people feel about the lease versus owning it. Like growing up, I know my father always had a car that he owned and would just drive it till the wheels fall off. But then my mom would lease. I remember like being a little kid. I'm like, why does mom always get the new cars? And my dad's like, because she can't drive a car for more than 2 years, blah, blah, blah. Like it was just a funny dad, but back and forth thing. But I do wonder if that's smart, right? Like you own one and then you lease one. London does not. Oh, London does, but not up where you live. Okay. For charging for public bathrooms in Europe. Yeah, Lisa says in Michigan, we have a law where you can't touch your phone while driving. Grocery carts would be something they could charge for. UFO Dog says we have to rebel against this. 1111 says BMW tried subscriptions for heated seats. Okay. So I'm not going to lie. I'd be curious. I'm going to put myself in like, I'm the founder of BMW. Okay. The company's doing things that we're obviously a massively successful car corporation. If I'm sitting in a boardroom and somebody says, I figured out a way how to make more money. And I say, okay, well, what is it? What is it, Johnny? What's the way to make more money? And if we're this $1 billion car corporation and Bill or whatever I just said, Johnny says, we're going to have a subscription for heated seats. Have you ever seen the scene in Elf where Buddy the elf calls the South Pole elf, or he's like, call me an elf one more time. And he goes, oh, he's an angry elf. He's a South Pole elf. And he gets up on the table and he sprints around and he 2-leg drop kicks him right in the chest. That's what I would do. I'd go over there and I would drop kick this man in the chest for suggesting subscriptions for heated seats. It's like, do you want to go viral? Do you want to have a boycott on us? Do you want people to hate us already more than they do? It's just, what an asinine idea. See, Sleuthy Kitty, this is one that I could get behind. So Sleuthy Kitty says, a friend at our airport just heard an airline wants to charge for reclining your seat. Like what? No, I'm always the guy that ends up having someone to recline in my lap. So you should have to pay the person behind you to recline your seat. Yeah, I've seen a couple states. I think Minnesota. I think Minnesota, as Jamie says, California charges for 10 cents per bag at the grocery store. I think that Minnesota does that as well. Vigio says it starts with seats, then you're going to charge for mileage, and then radius are the ultimate goals. Oh yeah, 15-minute cities. That's why I'm wearing this shirt today. I'm kind of stealing Sammy T Mafia's. Unfortunately, when I probably get up and put my shirt in front of the camera, it's not as exciting for some people. But yeah, that's why I wore this. Because again, these 15-minute cities are coming in hot. Luna, you've never been on a plane. Wow. Exactly. Brandon says they just want to keep you stuck in your zone for life. Absolutely. Care Bear says it costs $500 to replace a key fob for your car. Christ. Mrs. Birdie just said that I have the worst airport and plane luck. I do. I do when it comes to like getting through security. Because so I've said this before, but if you guys have ever gone, okay, everybody always says that when you travel or you fly, you get sick. And they assume that it's because when everyone's sitting in the fuselage on the airplane, it's just a bunch of hot breath and you're breathing it all in. Well, I'm here to debunk that because in my day job back in the day, we sold these air pumps that would inflate stuff for patients in hospitals. We were the only company that had HEPA filters in our pumps. Everybody else used foam filters. HEPA filters are good for 5 years. You can use them in an isolation room. Like they trap all of that bad stuff in them. But a lot of companies cheap out. They use foam filters. That's very important when people have their bodies cut open in the OR. You don't want, the air coming through the pump to be blowing stuff from somebody who was in an isolation room before. Well, airplanes use HEPA filtration. So it's not sitting on the airplane that makes you sick. I'm curious if anybody knows what it really could be. And it's when you go and you get scanned, you sit in an x-ray machine and it does a full body x-ray on you for national security purposes. Go look up low levels of radiation. Go look up what the symptoms are. They are flu-like and cold-like symptoms. Headache, nausea, sniffles. And so every time that you go through all that radiation, there's a good chance that you can get sick, especially if you have a quick turnaround. Most times when people travel, they get sick if they have a quick turnaround flight or connecting flights. So if you have layovers both ways, that's 4 huge doses of radiation. Now, I've asked about this, and of course the TSA goes, no. They're minute. They're minimal levels of radiation. Tell me how that's possible. Because there's a base level of radiation that you need in order to do an x-ray. Otherwise, it just wouldn't be a thing. It wouldn't be a thing. If it was low levels, it wouldn't be effective. There's a threshold that you have to reach. And that threshold of radiation is enough to have flu-like symptoms. So I believe that's why everybody's getting sick when they travel. So going back to Mrs. Birdie's point, I do my best. Like I don't get my eyes scanned. I opt out of all that shit. And she's now, when we were dating, she thought I was weird. Now, like when she updated her last name and stuff, I don't think she's done it either. But for whatever reason, I have to go through this damn thing 3 times. And I'm just sitting there like I'm panicking. I'm like mean mugging this guy. I'm like, how am I getting dinged every time when I go through these metal detectors? It's every time. And it's like, I don't know if I'm just telling but I don't get sick though, which is nice. Yeah, they did essentially the equivalent. What these companies did for these radiation machines so that the TSA could tell people is they did what Big Pharma did. Let's have a company that we pay. It's not going to be so that way we could say third party, but is it true third party? No. Let's do what Big Pharma does. Let's have somebody put out an in favor of our opinion on our product so that we can state that and claim that to the people. It's a joke. It's just, yeah. So, but that's why too. And you guys have heard this. I have a TikTok out about it, about how like I'm convinced that kids eating lead paint chips, while it may have happened, I don't think people were dying from that. I think they wanted to get lead off of your walls so that radiation and frequencies and Wi-Fi before you had a router inside your house, because there's people that are like, well, I have lead painted walls and my Wi-Fi works. Well, yeah, now you have the router in your house. But when cell phones were new, they had to get the lead off of your walls so that all that radiation could go through your house. That's why you wear a lead vest when you get an x-ray, to protect the other parts of your body, because those rays, that radiation cannot pass through lead. And so I believe that back in the day when there was 3 newspapers that pretty much ran the world, they just put out, kids are dying from eating lead paint chips. I'm sorry, I've never seen a kid eat a paint chip. And again, I know there's people that are like, oh, there's a lot of people. I've seen them. Okay, fine. I almost think that it's like, and I'm not trying to offend anybody here. And if you are offended, well, I don't know what to tell you, but I think a sign of low IQ is when I'm making a generalization and you point out the outlier. Okay. So, for example, if I was to say all athletes that run track are fast, you would say, well, there's people who throw the shot put that aren't fast. And you'd completely throw the entire momentum of the conversation off just because you had to make that point. Like, no shit. Of course. And that to me, I don't know why. I've always thought that's like a low IQ like aspect of some people's personalities. It's like, I'm generalizing. Yes. Okay. Like, is there somebody that's probably slow that's running track? Yes. Okay. Right. But, and I'm sure there's other examples. You guys get my point. Harper says that's probably me. Yes. Lisa says, I love that shirt. Facts. Phoenix, good to see you. Good morning. Phoenix, some kids eat dirt. You know, I used to drink from puddles as a kid. True story. I'm convinced it's why I don't get sick. I also think that was probably before they were spraying our skies on a daily. But yeah, my mom used to get pissed. She'd come outside, I'd be drinking out of a puddle. And I would I don't know why. Like, I just think back to myself, like, and then I would start doing it out of spite because I liked it so much. Like, I genuinely, guys, it was a problem. It was a problem. Like, between drinking out of puddles and then, yeah, UFO Dog says Bertie was a bad kid. Yeah. Oh no, I don't want that to be the new nickname. Puddles. Puddle drinker. Oh, Mrs. Birdie says that explains a thing or two now. Yeah. Potsy McPot says this week on My Strange Addiction. Yeah. I don't know. So I was telling you what used to drive my dad up a wall. If you haven't seen that stream with Devil's Advocates, I don't know if I've laughed that hard in years talking to a buddy. But between drinking from puddles, what used to drive my mom up a wall, outside of doing that, was I would do what I called, like, I'm playing war. Like, I would go outside and I would play war. And my mom had this, her and my dad, they kind of like did like their own landscaping. So my dad would actually like get out there and dig out the grass, put down like the liner, and they'd put all this mulch, and I would go play war in the mulch, and I would just kick the mulch up because it looked like an explosion. And I would just do this everywhere. And yeah, they wanted to absolutely kill me because I wouldn't stop doing that either. Like, I feel like my parents had binoculars from inside the house. Like, I would, like, they couldn't stop me either. They couldn't stop me. I just had this weird mentality of like, I'm going to try to do it and not get caught just so that I could see if I could not get caught. Yeah, there was a handful of those type of phases. You know what else I can't stand? And I just got a text. This is not meant to be rude, but just in general, this might as well just turn into a rant of now with this Toyota thing that's just kind of like sending me, because I know people are going to buy into it, like Discord Dawn said. And it's like when people text you and they say, hey, I have X, Y, and Z going on. Would you be able to hop on a quick call to discuss this further? I don't know why that drives me up a wall, because then you get on there and it's like, all that ends up happening is you just tell me your situation and we don't discuss anything. That's like if you're in sales, one of the biggest efficiency tips, and I don't remember where I got this from. It might have just been a coworker. So when you're trying to set a meeting with somebody at work, have you ever noticed that when you're trying to find a time or a date that works, it's the longest aspect of getting a meeting set? You know, hey, like, you know, do you have any good times on this date or this date? Like, here's what my Thursday looks like, blah, 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 right? Like, let me know what works for you. Hope to hear back soon. Okay. Instead of doing that, and I think I've said this tip before, I have like a 95% success rate on this. I just send a calendar invite with the subject line of something that would sound like they need to be in this meeting for. And I never just try to meet with one person. I'll put like 2 or 3 people at the place of work so that it seems like, oh shit, like I need to be in this meeting. And it works. Everybody just accepts the meeting. And I'll just put in the description area like, hey, if this doesn't work, just adjust the time. That way you're not going back and forth on an email thread. You just have the blocked, it's already on their calendar. So anyways, little tip, but Luna had asked me, how do you even drink from puddles? Like, explain. Well, it's simple. You get down, you lay on your stomach and you turn your head sideways and you kind of like just shovel it into your mouth. Like, oh, Harper says I have a coworker that will keep me on the phone while she just breathes and talks to herself. Oh, Care Bear says I was always told just rub some dirt on it. It's fine. That's how I grew up. Yep. Me too. My wife thinks I'm weird. Something's going on out there. The dog's going crazy if you guys hear that. Johnny Utah says, what happened to the memberships? What do you mean? I've never had memberships. Well, can you put her in a kennel or something? Oh. Well, give her a call. Thank you. We got our maintenance guys that are scraping our paint off the front of the house right now and repainting it. And my dog does not like that. My dog acts like, we have a golden retriever border collie mix that's named Lambo, like the field, not like the car. I thought that was the coolest name for a dog, Lambo, like Lambeau Field. And now it's one of the weirdest like insecurities that I have whenever I'm at the dog park or someone's like, oh, what's your dog's name? And I go, Lambo. And they think I'm talking about a car. Like, I wouldn't name my dog Lambo. So and now she just misbehaved and she's getting a Kong full of peanut butter. So that's good. Lisa says, is it lead paint? You get a UFO dog top dog award. I should make a custom UFO dog award. Lisa says, spewing facts, Birdie. I was born in the 70s, so mud puddles, no shoes, dirty hands, water hose, ditches full of running water. We weren't sick. Absolutely. I used to love hose water. Luna says, speaking of chemtrails, has anyone seen the claims of no chemtrails since the government shut down? Yeah, I'm not surprised. They hate us. Crown says, I have a dog named Ghost. That's a badass dog name. What kind of dog is it? My heaven dog was named China. China's cool. UFO dog doesn't let her dogs drink from puddles. Interesting. How do you even monitor that? Yeah, summertime hose water hit differently. The other thing that used to be a blast too is we had a trampoline. We would put like the sprinkler under the trampoline and let it like spray through the sprinkler and jump around. Anyways, okay, I got to focus. So getting back to this, how this is now just a dystopic nightmare with Toyota, and how I'm saying this needs to end here. Okay, so this woman had put out this video and it gained a ton of traction. Okay, this is trippy. So I took this screenshot. Okay, I took this screenshot last night at approximately 11 p.m. Okay, and you can see here it says it was updated 33 minutes ago. So this was posted at 10:30 p.m. last night. So October 9th, 2025 at 10:30 Central p.m. This article came out. Okay, this video, I'll play it one more time if you didn't see it. This video then gets posted.
Yo, we're in a Toyota 2025, and we noticed that on the screen, you can't use navigation unless you pay a subscription fee for it, right? Which is insane. Like, you can't just hook your phone up and use navigation on your phone. That's free. So we looked at the subscription fees, and it's $15 a month. It's also $15 a month to stream music to the actual screen in your car. Okay, together it's $25 a month. Then it's, I also saw somebody on a forum say it's $8 a month to be able to see your oil level and your tire pressure. Bruh, look at this.
Amen.
What?
What?
Kind of hell.
To use the car.
The
to
car-
basically use the car. And the key fob.
The car's like 40 grand. Oh yeah, remote start. You have to literally pay a subscription fee to get remote start. The vehicle is capable of all these things. What the fuck
You
reality
have to
are we living
pay
in?
to use them. Toyota.
Yeah. Well, then look what comes out this morning. Viral video misleads on Toyota 2025 subscription fees fuels backlash. This was posted at 8 a.m. today. And it says a viral X post by Wall Street apes viewed by thousands falsely claimed that 2025 Toyota models require monthly fees for basic features. Owners in community notes clarified that the phone integration via Bluetooth, Apple CarPlay, and Android Auto will remain free. Subscriptions limited to optional Toyota cloud services such as remote start, integrated streaming. The incident underscores broader consumer concerns over automakers expanding post-purchase fees and software-defined vehicles. You know, now, are we to believe that? Are we to believe that? So you're going to tell me that at 10:30 on X, there was an article talking about this, not just that video. There was the article talking about it. Then there's a video that goes viral. And within a matter of 12 hours, now it's a viral video that misled. Really? You know, it's almost like, you know how like when we're sleeping, the other side of the world is awake. And while they're sleeping, we're awake. It's like somebody on the other side of the world put out some information about this. They all went to bed, and then they got to the office when we went to bed last night. So they were just starting their days, and they're like, holy hell, delete it. Delete it. Say it's misinformation. It's misleading. We need community notes. This went terribly wrong in under 12 hours. Delete it. And now look at that. The media machine comes and says, video that goes viral is just misleading people on it. Give me a break. Does anybody believe that? It's just, and they can always do that. They're like, it's so funny too, how they, rather than say, hey, consumers, we love that you love our cars. We missed with this. We hear you. We're not going to do that dumb shit. We're going to stop. No. Instead, they're just going to gaslight the hell out of us. And they're going to say, you're misleading people. That's not what we're going to do at all. No. It's the general idea of they're going to go and then still discredit the little people. It's just a joke. It's just a joke. Sipanon says the Saudis must have raised hell. I mean, dude, everybody should be raising hell. Toyotas, they're cheap, affordable, great cars. Yeah, they woke up and they said, oh, hell no. Yep, that cleanup crew came in. Yeah, they just wanted to see how people would react. Terribly, it went terribly, or clearly it went terribly. And then you do have to wonder that, like what Gamble said, are they just creating drama for tension? Or tension? Mrs. Birdie she's the most gorgeous woman on this planet. So, Denise, I'm glad you said that. Was the Cracker Barrel thing all trolling? We only have one that's by us, and I never go to it. What up, Nick Tripp? Thanks for tuning in over on X. Any press is good press. Is it? Do you guys agree with that? Do you guys agree with any press is good press? Because I feel like it depends on how that quote any press worked out. Like for Kim Kardashian, it worked out phenomenally. Could have worked out better for Kim K. But for like Louis C.K., it went really wrong. Nick's tuning in from Lytham, UK. Yeah, Toyota said, are we doing this? So if you're already famous, yes. Yeah, that's a good point. If you're already famous, yeah, but I don't know. There was like I feel like there was an aspect of stand-up comedy, like stand-up comics like 5 or 6 years ago were just getting canceled. Like every month you heard about one. You know what I mean? But now it seems like comedy kind of broke through that. For Toyota, it turns out they are nice guys that don't charge extra fees, is what Gamble said. Yeah, it would work until cancel culture. I think cancel culture is the stupidest thing. I really do. It did suck. It absolutely sucked. It sucked too, because I'm sure like there's aspects of cancel culture that go beyond even just the person getting canceled. It starts to divide friends and families, because now if you don't agree with it, or if you don't agree with, or if you agree or you don't agree with it, apparently it affects every great memory and relationship you've had with people. Which, when did that become so prominent too? Why can't you be friends with people that think, like for me, it's always been easy because I've been the person that thinks differently. Does anybody in the Hive feel like that? Like, does anybody feel like in here it's easy for us to understand that it's just okay, that's how they feel about it. That's how they think about it. Whereas whenever we would say stuff, it would be like way more judgy. You know what I'm saying? I feel like if you're an open-minded person, and I'm not talking like the corny open-minded buzzword bullshit. I'm talking like if you're somebody who's like, yeah, I mean, just because I don't know about it doesn't mean it's not true. I'd have to look into it, right? It's like some people don't do that. I've heard people don't have an internal dialogue in their head. So that means that you're a real life NPC. Like if you don't have an internal dialogue in your head, that's got to be the weirdest thing ever. You know, and right. What do you mean, Caleb, saying new YouTubers are popping off videos left and right? Everyone's screaming that oh, you're talking about something else. Oh, you're talking about the Idaho 4, yeah. Yeah, we are cooler over here. That's what I don't understand. I've always said too, if people get mad at the Hive, I'm convinced the only reason is because you don't understand what the Hive is. Like I was saying this last night to Sammy T, and it was, so we put out these theories, right? We were very open about our nightly streams that are contrarian thinking, just the right amount of tinfoil. Nobody's claiming it's the truth. We're just thinking out loud as a group, as a collective, hypothesizing. And it's so interesting how that drives people crazy, and they think that we're nuts. And it's like, do you understand that we wouldn't be able to theorize if we didn't understand the basics of the case? If we didn't understand the basics of whatever situation we're talking about, who are the players? What are they saying happened? No. It's like we understand it to a point where it's like, that doesn't make sense. So let's unplug this aspect of it and plug in this one. Does that lead to a theory then? Yeah. And I don't want to just go on this rant about how that's the biggest thing that I was just shocked about when I started regularly streaming was I'm putting in, I have everything shared on screen. Like I would prepare all these visuals, the sources, definitions of stuff, documents. And I'd say, here's what a ritualistic murder would look like. Here's some symbolism. Here's a name of it that lines up almost with it, or with WITSEC. I looked into the parent company of the moving company that moved the Idaho 4's stuff out. Well, the parent company is Serva, who holds, and I forget the name of the paperwork now, but they hold some schedule paperwork where they're allowed to move federal assets. And then the moving company that was in Moscow, right down the road, it shut down within 10 days of moving them out, permanently closed. So it's like, okay, come on. Like there's a reasonable theory. But no, if you're just a peanut brain, drinking tap water, getting fluoride treatments at the dentist, you probably can't wrap your head around it. I can't believe that when you go to the dentist, they still push for fluoride treatments. I can't believe it. I was shocked to have gotten asked that I went to the dentist about a month ago. I was shocked. I looked and I was like, no, I'm fine. And that's my personal opinion. If people have been doing it out of habit, I would just encourage you to look into it. Same thing with root canals. Do your research on root canals and the health aspects that those lead to down the road. But exactly. Kuda says just gargle some puddle water. You'll be fine. See, isn't that funny that Sleuthy Kitty says, so the NPCs drink tap water while we drink hose water, and apparently some of us puddles. I feel like the puddles, though, are probably the purest way. Luna says, I love this chat so much. Are you talking about root canals? It's just, if you go look up like what the root canal is doing, and then just there's some studies out that they show that, certain diseases that people end up with, all of them had root canals. And it's like it's starting to trend towards like certain sicknesses they all have the common denominator of a root canal, is how I would describe it. Yeah, try to use aluminum-free deodorant. Although what's so weird about aluminum-free deodorant is if it doesn't have aluminum in it, it seems to not work. Amanda B from West Virginia says, good afternoon, Hive. What was war says, I hope it rains today. Is that because you want to go drink puddles? Yeah, we had pure puddles back in our day. Harper says, in the last 2 days, this chat has taught me to not use fluoride and witches are real. Yes. Oh, man. Well, Hive, that was fun. I always love these Friday morning streams. I'll be back on tonight at 9 p.m. Central. We're going to be doing a live dig. We'll be going into the Idaho 4 case, and I'm trying to work on a couple of really cool things, like outside of having, whenever people give a super chat, to have it pop up next to me and read it off. I'm working trying to get this software downloaded where people can actually call into the stream off their phone. And I would just have like a Google number is how I would equate it to. So I got to figure that out. And then essentially you could have like, you know, we could do a minute call, 2-minute calls, whatever. People could drop their theories. I don't know if that's going to be up tonight. I'm going to work on it. But I think for Friday nights, that might become a regular thing. I think that could be rowdy and a lot of fun. And yes, if you guys could please hit that like button, it takes literally no effort. I keep all my streams free. All I ask is you just hit the like button, get this out into the algorithm so that we can grow the hive. And with that, I hope everybody has a fantastic Friday. And I will see you this evening, 9 p.m. Central. Cheers, everybody. Have a great day.
Birds flying high, you know how I feel. Sun in the sky, you know how I feel. Breeze drifting on by, you know how I feel. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life.